Ladies and gentlemen and guests, welcome to Game Beyond the Game, presents Talk Fact Talk. And I want to let you all know that this is pre-recorded, so I know you're missing us live, but we'll catch you next time. So make sure you still tune in right now for this episode of Game Beyond the Game, where we have conversations with professional and elite athletes who inspire our audience as we explore finding vision and purpose in life and discuss tools to overcome life's transitions. I am Stan Pearson, the second-year MC, and we are joined right now by founder Prince Daniels Jr. Prince, how you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm amazing. I'm feeling inspired, man. Got an incredible individual on here. So, hey, I can't say any more, man. So I'm grateful.
Cool. And now you know I have to do what it is that I do best, and that is introduce amazing guests. And today is no different. Former Seattle Seahawk football standout and someone who was going to make it a really impactful decision on his life on August 16th and decided to dig even deeper, work even harder to continue to be with us here today. And we cannot be happier to introduce family man, incredible dude, and good vibes only participant, Marcus Smith II. Marcus, how you feeling this day?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Can't wait to get in the weeds with you guys, man. This is what I do, man. This is what I do, man.
All day,
man. Love it. So let's hop right into it. I want to know a little bit more about you. So tell me, where are you from? And what brings you here? What brought you to football? Where are you from? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm from Columbus, Georgia, which is probably an hour and a half south of Atlanta. So I think I started playing football when I was 5 years old. My dad, I was just so like active and just crazy when I was little. So they was like, man, you got to do something. So he put me in flag football when I was 5. And I played football from 5 all the way to 28, so I played football all the way through. So yeah, man.
Whoa. Yeah, were you terrorizing folks on the flag football? Did you know then, like, I'm special? Did dad know while you were on the flag football field that you were special?
Well, actually, it's a funny story about that. Is my first touchdown, I actually ran the wrong way. So we kind of knew I was special when I ran the wrong way and then turned around and then still scored.
Oh man,
it went from one kind of special to the other special. Okay, I like he is special. Where is he going to? Oh, he's special. He made it where he's supposed to go.
Yeah, but I pretty much my whole life I played quarterback. And that's another thing with me. So I since I was 5, that's all I ever played. I was basically the leader of the team all the way up until, things changed when I got to college.
Wow. So when you got to college, what happened?
Well, see, Coach Strong, he was actually at the University of Florida, and I was going to commit to Florida, but he went and became the head coach at Louisville. So I followed him there. And obviously, he's a linebackers coach. But in high school, I was telling everyone, like, man, I want to be a quarterback. Like that's what I want to do. I was like having the Lamar swag. Like, you ain't finna tell me I'm not going to be nothing but a quarterback, right? So I get to school, and it's already 2 seniors. I get to school in July. And it was no possible way I was going to learn the system from July to August and be ready in September to play quarterback. So Coach Strong in camp, he asked me a specific question. He was like, what you think about playing linebacker? And I told him, I said, well, I just want to get on the field. I don't care where I play. So I kind of like trusted and believed in him to kind of like coach me up at the position.
Yeah.
And luckily, like, man, they switched my position, and my freshman year, I ended up starting at linebacker against University of Kentucky, my first, ever collegiate game, and I had just moved.
Wow.
So I still didn't know anything. Like, I know y'all saying wow, but I was getting my head knocked off.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, man, because when I was in high school, they tried to switch me from running back to DB, right? And I'll never forget, we was doing drills, and I didn't know how to tackle. All I knew how to do was deliver a blow. So, playing running back, I would curl up and boom and hit people. But, playing defense, I would just kind of wait there, have my arms open, and like, bomb, and I
Yeah,
blacked out. And I was like, okay, this not for me. I was like, I need to play running back. And,
man.
it was a tough transition. So, like, what was that like, man? Because I already know how it is.
Man, it was because when we talk about some of my dealings, man, I've been dealing with anxiety ever since I was little. I think it was passed down to me traumatically, and it went undiagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I changed positions, it was really hard because I hadn't played it before. It was times where I wanted to quit. You know, luckily I had people that looked like us
Right.
on the coaching staff that was helping me push through at the time.
Mm.
But it was a hard transition because they moved me to linebacker, and then that spring they moved me to D line. So it's like going from going from quarterback. Your mentality is more of a soft mentality. You don't really have to hit. Going to linebacker, okay, I kind of got to get my pads going. I got to get my feathers ruffled. Then now I'm in the trenches with the D line.
Right.
So I was ready to quit, man. I called my mom. I called her when I was on the table, getting my knee worked on. Like, look, I don't know if I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
We have, y'all know about mat drills. Like we had mat drills back then where we actually used to wrestle. So picture a quarterback 230 wrestling with 330 pounders. So I really was questioning my love for the game, obviously.
No better time to question your love for the game than right there, Money Mark. I ain't even gonna lie to you, right? What was that conversation like, and how did you again get to a point where you overcome that? So you go from again quarterback, someone that certainly doesn't have to necessarily deliver a blow, to
Right.
being linebacker, someone that's definitely going to have to at least shed some blockers, deliver a blow themselves, to every play being engaged. So what was that? We heard about, you mentioned the conversation, let's say, hey, I'm going to be the linebacker, to being a lineman, and how did you finally stand tall? Because you were standing tall the whole time, but really receiving like, okay, I'm a rock with this.
Oh man. Well, first off, I would say that, I really, coming from my background, mentally, I wasn't built to be mentally, tough, as they would say. I wasn't even built that way because, my dad was very hard on me when I was younger. And, I had a father who, like, I love him to death, but he got this from his parents, in which is beat down, beat down, beat down, and not really build you back up. So even with that, like I think my sophomore year came around, and sophomore season, and I went through not OTAs, but I went through spring playing D line, getting pancake almost every play, and it kind of like built some like tough skin. And my coach, he's actually Clinton Hurt. He's actually the D line coach in Seattle now. He was almost like my father figure while I was in college. But his motto was, he broke me down to build me back up. Right. And so I played my sophomore season at D line, and I ended up having 5.5 sacks. But I still felt like I wasn't good enough. I just didn't feel like, football was like this is not what I should be doing. I wasn't confident in myself. But he pulled me to the side and he had a conversation with me because I was gonna quit. I was gonna just go home.
Yeah.
And he pulled me to the side. He was like, look, if you can stick with me, I know I'm hard on you. I know, we ain't had the best, conversations, but look, if you can stick with me, like, you're going to make a lot of money playing this position.
Wow.
You're going to be able to take care of your family. You're going to be able to do whatever you want to do. So after that conversation, it was kind of like an aura like about me that gave me the confidence that I needed to like press forward. Right. And so that's how I pressed forward. Like, I played my sophomore season, had 5.5 sacks. I came back the spring, man, had a great spring. And, the rest is history after that. By the time I was a senior, I led the country in sacks, second in the country in sacks, and I was able to be drafted.
Ooh, you start living into it, bro. That's the lovely
Yep.
thing about it, man. That's that mindset.
Heck yeah. I just want to throw in there, thank you for bringing up, the kind of, because we all, number one, parents do the best with what they have, which is
Right.
an amazing point that you mentioned. And then the other point is kind of seeing what's been done and what works, and also understanding that, let's say, discipline without context can create more conflict.
Right.
And realizing that, and for those who are listening and watching, understanding that piece, like discipline is necessary.
Right.
It's necessary, right? But the discipline without context and helping someone understand why it is you want them to do what they should do, or who they can become as a result of said discipline, can create additional conflict. But that's a great point in you providing, let's say, the context of, moving forward and how you got past, overcame, and
Right.
second in sack. It's your story. You led in sacks. I don't care what the rules say. They don't have to know the truth. But congratulations on that. So as we move forward, so now drafted. What does that feel like? What did that feel like for you?
Man, it was definitely a happy day to go in the first round of the draft. It was definitely happy, but like I was telling Prince earlier, it was I had been through so much, and I felt like I overcame so much, and the goal was always to make it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But as human beings, as Black culture, as like young individuals, if we're not taught how it's going to be or what to expect, you really don't know. So when I got to the NFL, it was like I dropped my shoulders. I didn't have a chip on my shoulder really at first, because it's like this was the place that I was trying to get. Oh, now I'm successful, right? But what we don't realize is that it's a lot more work to be done, And I was telling Prince, like, success is not a destination, it's a mindset. And I didn't realize that till after my first year in the league.
Man, look, I got a saying is, if success is a mindset, then how you set in your mind, because like the thing is, Stan, I was with Marcus and we were just talking about how when you're growing up, it's the glitz and glamour, and you get there and just like, what a glitz and the glamour at?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like,
yeah.
like this is real, because Marcus, when you think about it, when we're in school, we have school, then we have practice, and then we go to our dorm and do whatever else, right?
Right.
And now when you get to the league, it's a business, and you don't have no school, like football is school. It's school, it's life, it's everything, and now, the love that you have for it, like, but with love, you need space. To be able to love more, right? But with football, there's no space. You spend most of your day and time there. And so, like, you start losing the love for the game, because it's like, man, like, like, things are not going right, not what you expected. It's a mind game. Your psyche is warped. Like, you got people yelling at you, grown men yelling at you, and so you like, all right, I'm gonna yell back at you. Or you see, the environment is like, I can say that. I can say that. I can do that. Like, and then you realize, like, oh, I'm not doing what I need to do. I've seen a couple people like curse out, like the coaches, the trainers. This is like, get my right now, get my stuff ready right now. I was like, wow, you can say that. I'm looking like, wow, I didn't know you can say that. Like, okay, well, let me get a little toughness to myself as well, because I don't want to get ran over, right?
Right.
But it's just a different speed, a different mindset. So, man, like, man, like, kudos to you for staying in there, bro, because I already know what it is, man.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. And when you come from like, my family was probably like middle class, but when you come from not, you really don't know, and your parents, they don't know, they can't really give you the gems that you need.
Right.
And the one thing about the NFL is that they ain't gonna waste their time. Like, so it's not like it's not like you're gonna get them gems, and because you got to think it's grown men trying to feed their family. So you will find a select few that's
Right.
gonna help you. Which I had, like Brandon Graham, he plays for the Eagles. Trent Cole, they took me under their wing.
Yeah.
But you don't get that with everybody else.
Right.
They're not
Right.
gonna tell you, oh, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do.
Right.
Right? Because you got people trying to make the team. You got people trying to feed their family. So it's it's a tough world to come into.
Right.
And like you said earlier, they provoked me a lot. But it was like with them, my demeanor, I don't like talking. I don't talk on the field. I don't trash talk. If you make me mad enough, I'll do something, but I ain't gonna trash talk you. But
Right.
they used to provoke me a lot to get me to say something, get me to do something. So, I mean, it was just different for me because I really wasn't used to that.
Right. Same here. Same here.
It's so amazing because there's so much fine print that people, and I said in layman, the folks who are watching you all on TV, completely, it looks good. And that's sometimes what's projected. That's why these conversations become so much more impactful and important. Like, man, shut up. You make a lot of money. Deal with it. Like, listen, if your boss walked into your cubicle and yelled at you for 20 minutes, you would quit. Like you would be done, regardless of what amount they paid you. So it's the trauma that you speak of that happens, and then the egos that are in play that are necessary. They're kind of like a necessary evil, if you will. Sometimes I'll say your ego is not your amigo, but based on what you do and how you have to do it, it just creates this environment where you're constantly having to evolve.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, in the fine print piece, I also want to mention, if you don't mind, there's a guy by the name of Vince Reed, and recently he was a collegiate athlete, but he said that he knew, let's say his first day of college football, that he wasn't going to be a pro. Because based on that mindset that Prince talked about, he was like, oh, this is what's going on. So again, to make it to that next level, you get in, you're like, oh, this is what it is. So it's really impactful that you all are having these conversations. I also tell folks, it's like having kids. I feel like if people knew the truth, the fine print of little kids and babies, they would have a better appreciation or understanding going into these really difficult conversations, as opposed to, oh no, it's great. And society understand you all so much more if they knew that it is not all roses. And as a matter of fact, you have to be as built physically as you are mentally, and as much mentally as you are physically.
It's more mentally too.
Yeah.
I think, and I actually told, this is the last thing I'm gonna say on that point. I think like I was debating giving them the money back. I'm like, you can have this back. If this is what success is, I don't want no parts of it. I go get my master's, be a collegiate coach or whatever I'm gonna do. Like, you can have this.
Man, real talk.
Run that back. You're at the bank, come back.
I was like, in my contract, what does it say I got to do all this? Man. So I work with athletes, right, on their mindset, and when it comes to mindset, you're going through this process. At what point in time did you feel that, was it after a game? Was it something that you did? You kept getting injured that kind of provoked you to be like, you know what, I'm done with this, man. Because okay, so here's the mindset. You go from being a quarterback, right, having a red jersey on. Nobody, you don't have to get touched today, right? Mm-hmm. So now you're in college, now playing linebacker, just playing any other position than quarterback, you're gonna get hit. So you got to come out with the mindset like, here we go again. Sometimes we in practice like, yo, bro, take it easy today, man. Like, my shoulder hurt. But then all of a sudden, it's not the guy that you spoke to and you made an agreement with. Take it easy. It's his teammate that go hard and hits you, and then after that, the mindset is like, oh man, here we go, got turned on, you know. And now you vicious, you in the zone, you mad, and so like you have to wake up and do that every single day. Not to mention years on top of years on top of years, like you getting hit and not really feel like getting hit, but now your mindset goes into another mode. Like, man, all right, you want to hit me? All right, I'm gonna hit you back. I got like you got power. I got power too. And so it's that deadly battle each and every day. You know, at what point in time did you feel like I'm done with this? I know you said in August, and you know what happened in August, and we're gonna touch on that just a little bit. But like, at what point in time did you say, you know what, I'm done with this, man? I'm tired of y'all.
Man, I used to have those. I used to say that a lot. Every year. I was ready to quit every year, man. Because I was dealing like anxiety anxiety. What people don't understand is when you deal with anxiety and you don't know what anxiety is, right? Anxiety is it happens because of what's to come. And the gratitude, I mean not the gratitude, but the what I had to do, what you were just talking about, I knew I was gonna have to bang each and every day. And that used to give me anxiety because I knew I had to perform at a high level. And I couldn't control my anxiety. So that turned into depression. And those two things in our community, I didn't know that's what it was called. You know, you could put anxiety and depression on the board, but I'm like, man, I ain't going through those things, not realizing that I really was. So every year I would have a moment where, bro, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I can't do this, bro. This is too much for my mental. And one thing I will say is that when you talked about you know, being in college, you know, having to have that mental, you have to have that mental every day, you know, right? I'm gonna tell you, in my situation, my athleticism overrid my mental, right? But as you get to the pros, your athleticism starts to die down and your technique has to, you know, it has to override that. But if you're not mentally strong at that point and you don't really know yourself, it's hard to come out of that. And that's where I was. I was just playing, I was there, but I really didn't feel like I was there. You know what I mean? Had a black cloud over my head every year, and I couldn't understand why I was sad all the time. I couldn't understand why I felt like nothing was going right for me. But to everybody else, man, you playing in the league, bro. Like, you making money, bro. Like, what else do you want? And I'm like, bro, you can have the money back. This is not something like, this is not for everybody. Right. This is, and I teach athletes now. Like, I'm at my you know, my gym, A&M Sports and Fitness right now. And we teach athletes, like, look, you have to use football, right? If you want to play football, use it, right? It's not your life. This is something that you do. This is not who you are. And we come from backgrounds from where we come from. That's all we know. And that's the only way to make it out for us. It's like football, I have to use this to get wherever I'm going. And I just try to preach to them that, man, you're so much more than that.
But you know, it's hard to get that message across. I realize in our community, because you know we're so enamored to like, I'm gonna make it, bro. I'm gonna make it, and you know I don't have to worry about all that, man. Once I make it, everything is gonna be all right. But man, the reality of it is, it's never that. Like we need to be teaching them about stocks and bonds and cryptocurrency, like just like, because you know that saying that money don't grow on trees. Well, you know, right now it's growing on trees, right?
It seems like you can pull it out the sky.
Hey, you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied about that.
Right. You know, like I'm like, man, what was this at? Why didn't nobody teach me this? You know, the younger generation is still kind of like, brainwashed, you know, and not knowing what they need to do, the mindset and the mentality that they need to have. And so, man, that's great that you're doing what you're doing, man. And what's the name of your fitness? Again?
It's called A&M Sports and Fitness.
A&M Sports and Fitness.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So basically, we just trying to create sports wellness space, like a one-stop shop in the DMV. I just started it. So man, we just trying to. I really want to, I gotta pour into these kids. I have to go home and pour into them, because the murder rate in Columbus is stupid high.
Wow.
One of my good friends sent me some on Instagram, like somebody got killed on live.
What?
So it's just little stuff like that. Like you have to, like I have to be a catalyst to, where I'm going, and like the young kids, like, and they listen, man. That's what I'm most. They take heed to what I'm saying, and I can kind of like guide them and stay with them.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and that's why these conversations, all the interviews are amazing. But I always, maybe I'm biased because as a black man, for me, it's always great to see folks like us knowing that like there's more of us out here. Like we're everywhere. We're everywhere. Like we're everywhere. And I always say I think that black men are some of the dopest human beings on planet Earth and beyond. I think that our intellect even exceeds our athletic ability. And that's not always, our emotion, the way we think. I believe us to be incredible, especially the more I research. I'm like, we're extremely thoughtful individuals. We're absolutely emotional individuals, whereas some would argue that no, men need to show. It's like, no, not the way in which we show emotion. That's something that we continue to work on, but we're all those things. So, to obviously, Prince and certainly Marcus, your point, it's like, fellas, imagine that you are as smart as you are athletic. Just imagine that,
right?
Because that's what the absolute truth is. So kind of finding your way or your place. So let's say, for all the kids you talk to or the young men, maybe the NFL isn't their space as a player.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Because what if you're an agent? What if you're a coach? What if it's you know what I'm saying? Or what if you're helping players invest? I mean, just the list of things goes on and on. But one thing I found, when folks don't feel or understand where they came from or what they're made of, they'll go wherever someone tells them to go.
Yeah, man. So can you tell us about August, man? Like, I had an opportunity to read the article, man, but like, it's always better when it comes from the horse's mouth, man. Like, like what, man, I can feel that moment because we got a lot of similarity, man. I try to do the exact same thing, man. I think all players try to do the exact same thing because it's like you develop some demons within you and then you just don't want to live with it no more, man. So like, just share a brief moment. I'm not trying to bring you back, but
hey, hey man, it's all good because the more I want people to understand, the more we talk about these things, the more you help free yourself from it. And what I was gonna say, what you were just saying about kids, and then I'll piggyback off that, is that God gives us a talent and He gives us a gift. You use the talent to perfect your gift. And so the talent that we have might be football. That might be football. That might be whatever we're doing. But in the back of our mind, we know that football is not going to last forever, but it's going to push you to what God is preparing you to do. Right. And so I didn't get that until, I actually started going to therapy and I started to become and learn myself. But man, in August of 2018, I had just signed a 1-year deal, prove it deal with Seattle Seahawks. I mean, you play, I got cut from Philly after my third season, and I went to Seattle where my coach was that I played with in college. And so people don't even realize that, or they don't know that my fourth year going into that year, I was about to quit again. So you can imagine me trying to quit every year. The fourth year, it was like, I'm gonna do it this year, but I still didn't do it. I still pushed through, not getting therapy, not even realizing that I was dealing with anxiety. You guys, like I couldn't eat before practice. I had no appetite. I couldn't sleep. It felt like, my chest was caving in all the time when I would sleep on my chest. So I was very restless. I never got any sleep. So if you can imagine that same process every day, trying to perform, for it didn't in college. It was more so like I was younger, so I could kind of push it to the side. But as you get older, man, you can't. It's hard to push those things to the side because it's more on you when you go to the NFL. Because now you got the NFL, you got family, you got a family, and you trying to please everybody and make them happy rather than please yourself. And
Right.
so that's where I was. I had just got married. It's probably the best thing that could ever happen to me, but um I basically still hadn't like attacked those issues that I was dealing with before. And
Right.
my wife would tell me all the time, she would tell me like some of the issues that I was dealing with, but I used to like, man, I ain't dealing with that. Or
Right.
like she was like, she was like, Marcus, what you going through is anxiety, man. Don't you think you need to talk to somebody? But she didn't want to press the issue because she wanted me to come and do that, right? But I will always keep it on the surface with her. I would always keep it on the surface. I wouldn't tell her like how I was really feeling. Cause us men we'll say we're okay, but we
Yeah.
really ain't okay. And so, man, I woke up one morning. This was during camp, same time frame as every other year. And I started thinking like it again. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this no more. But this time it was a lot more riding. I really wanted to prove that I could be the player that they thought I was, when they drafted me. When the Philadelphia Eagles drafted me, I wanted to prove like I can be a top player in this league.
Right.
And I was going through the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety, I was depressed. I couldn't eat anything before practice. And that really used to hurt my soul because I really wanted to perform. I really wanted to do what I needed to do. And I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I was a vegetable. When I was out there, my tank always ran empty.
Wow.
I was always getting hurt. I was always stressed. Man, even the coaches used to come up to me and be like, man, you all right? You good? I'm like, telling them I'm good, man. I'm still going. Woke up one morning as I'm driving to the facility. It's it's a in Seattle, like when you're going to the facility, it's like a slope that you go down to get to the facility. And there's like rocks on the side. So the whole time I'm like, man, I'm about to go over. I'm about to say F it because I don't know what this is that I'm dealing with. I wasn't even my wife was pregnant and everything. And I wasn't even thinking about them. I'm like, man, I just don't want this pain no more. I really don't want to feel it no more. And so as I start to drive over, like if you can imagine like my wheel being kind of like over, then my wife calls me. So the phone rings and then I jerk back you know, like, oh snap. And we get on the phone and she says, you all right? You good? I don't know, man. When you left the house, you seem kind of because I left the house kind of fast, like, look, I'm good, I gotta go. Right. And I was rushing her to get off the phone. So I was rushing her to get off the phone to proceed to do what I was gonna do.
Right.
Right. Gonna kill myself. So got off the phone with her, told her I wanted to listen to some music in the car, and I proceed to go right again. I'm telling you, man, like a wheel is like if you go over in these rocks, man, you're a dead man. So I'm close, but then her mom calls me and I jerk back again.
Dang.
Right. And so you guys know just hearing that story, like there's nobody but God because by the time she calls me and she's talking to me, I'm at the bottom of the hill. And so me being at the bottom of the hill, knowing that I was going to kill myself, knowing that, I'm a supposedly strong Christian faith guy, um, you know, I was distraught. Like I couldn't believe that I was going to do that. And God gave me two chances
Mm.
to say, look, I'm going to use you, but you can't, I'm not going to let you kill yourself. right? So the love that God had for me that day, and after that, I talked to my mother-in-law, and I said to her, I said, I'm done. My mental is more important than football. I walked in that facility, and I quit that day. I quit that day, and I went to go get therapy. I told my coaches, told Pete Carroll, I said, man, I don't know what the future holds, but I can't do this right now. And I want to protect my mental stability, and that's what's more important.
Damn. Damn.
So yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened, man.
Yo.
My wife, she was crying because she couldn't believe that I was gonna do that. She was pregnant with our daughter, and I wasn't thinking about them. I was only thinking about myself and how I felt.
And see, and that's the reason why we keep it on the surface level with them, because we don't want to hurt them, right? We don't want to see them cry.
Right.
But they are also our strength.
Yep.
They help us. And a lot of times, when it comes to a relationship, we never want to open up because, like, we're supposed to be the men. We're supposed to be tough. We never supposed to cry. Like, don't know. Like, you ain't gonna never see me cry. But the truth of the matter is, when you cry, you get stronger after that, man. And so, like I'm glad you're here. You're a beacon of light, man. God is using you. You're an instrument, bro. And so,
me too, man.
Man, yeah, man. So
Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah, man. While we're here,
my gosh.
it's time for us to do what we need to do, which leads us into our next thing, our next phase of the conversation, man. Now that you're an inspiration, man, like what are some of the things that you would tell the youth?
Man, it's a lot of things that I want to be able to get out to the youth and tell them. But I think first and foremost is I was talking a little bit the other day about like what healing looks like, and like in order for us men to heal, we have to acknowledge that we're dealing with something first. We have to be able to say, because you have a lot of adolescents, kids that may they may lash out, they might do a lot of things, but they don't even realize why they're doing those things. But having somebody in their corner to kind of help them sift through those things and them acknowledging that. So that's like the first step to healing. And then, number two would be when as a young individual, it's okay to not have all the answers. And it's okay to feel what you're feeling and have emotions. It's okay to cry. You're not weak because you cry. Jesus wept. And we could talk about that all day. He did. Right? So it's okay to release that emotion, because guess what? When you're 5, 10, 15 years old and you see your father, he doesn't cry. They tell you not to cry because that's what they've been taught. So you keep that same mentality all the way through your life. And at some point, because you've been pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back, you're putting it in the back of your mind. But at some point, it's going to resurface itself because you haven't actually dealt with the issue.
Right.
So I always tell my guys, like, besides football, I might pull them to the side and we might just be talking about, guy asked me about anxiety and I was like almost cried. I'm like, oh yes, I'm about to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? We pull them to the side and it's like, look, like what you're feeling, all of us feel. You're not alone. So as Black men, we have to be able to say to our kids, to our youth, like, you're not alone. Like we always think we alone because nobody wants to speak about it. But now we have the platforms to say, hey man, you're not alone, man. We went through this. We can go through this together. I still deal with anxiety now, but it's just now about me controlling that and knowing, okay, that's what it is. Now I can attack it instead of pushing it by the wayside and kind of, doing what we all been taught to do,
Right.
For sure. And also I think we were maybe in the green room talking about social media and waking up to things and how what we engage and how we, what we allow to engage us can affect that anxiety. especially living in a world where you may feel, or no, not feel, experience all these things and say whether it's the world is out to get me, and they say just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you still.
Yeah.
but just the understanding of like, what we engage, even if it's not directly related to us, it's quite possible that if it is filled with divisiveness and anxiety, that it still feeds that same piece of us that hurts us,
right?
Presses us. Does that make sense? Is that something that resonates with you, Marcus?
Yeah, it does. It does. It resonates with me a lot, man. And I don't want to be long-winded, but I just it's a lot that you have to unpack as a Black man, just in general, because it's might not be directly, from it might not be directly from us, it might be from my ancestors, it might be from my father, that has been a trait that have been passed down to us.
DNA, right?
Right.
Exactly.
And
man.
it's okay. It's okay to say, okay, I didn't really know that, but figuring that out, finding a therapist helps you find yourself. And that's what happened to me. I found out, who the real Marcus Smith was.
Wow. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Amazing, man. Yep. Marcus, thank you for stating that. For those of y'all listening and watching, consider like who is the real version of you, like to the core, to the foundation. So you're probably in a place. So even if you're driving, right, wherever you are listening to this or watching this, think about where you are is probably someplace that has a foundation. Without that foundation, we will never be who we are supposed to be. The kind of building or place we're supposed to be. Any final thoughts from you, Prince, or any final, certainly we'll get to some final words from you, Marcus, as well. Any final thoughts or questions from you, Prince?
The last thing is, Marcus, what do you want people to say about your legacy, bro?
Man, that's a good question. Man, I definitely don't want people to say he was an awesome football player. But I would, I don't really care about, and this is just my opinion, of course. I don't care about the accolades, the Hall of Fame. I really just want people to say, look at my name and be like, man, he impacted a lot of people. He helped change the mental health realm in a way that made people go get the help that they need, made men go try to sift through the problems that they may be dealing with. I think that's what I want people to mostly remember, because, that's who I am. I'm not a big, want to be out there type, guy, even though, Instagram, that's kind of what it portrays, for our younger generation. They see what they see on Instagram, they think, life is just like, that I can get this, like that.
Right.
But I really want people to, remember me as someone that made an impact in the mental health space.
Nice, brother.
Oh, man, I appreciate you so much, Prince.
Yeah.
As we get out of here, this is an amazing interview, bro. I thank you for the transparency and the vulnerability to trust us. Go get the help, the support you need.
Right.
Period. And that anxiety is real. It's a real thing that leads to other things. So being able to identify that is a game changer. Prince, any final thoughts as the founder in this piece?
The final thoughts, man, just keep, like I said, keep being that inspiration, man. Keep using your spirit to inspire others, man. And yeah, that's it, man. I can't say anything else, man. Stan, you usually ask this question, like, Marcus, what would you tell your younger self?
To cry.
Oh, that's powerful, bro.
Man, try to pull a couple out of me right now.
I would be standing there over my younger self. Little Marcus, just cry, bro. Just cry. It's okay, But I seen so many things growing up, and I didn't even really touch on, like, my parents' divorce that had a traumatic take on my life, as a young one. But I didn't cry about that, and it's something that I cried about, years later that I didn't never release when I was a young person. So I would tell my younger self to cry, man.
That's a whole man. Have to have you back at some point if you don't mind.
Hey, bro, that's strong, man. I love it, bro. I'm telling you,
That's what we're here for, man.
That's right.
That's
That's it, man.
We're stronger together, man.
That's it, man. Right?
For real.
Man. I love that, man.
Dopest human beings on planet Earth. I stand 10 toes down on it. Yo, officially, man. Thank you so very much, Marcus. Money Mark, if you will, for joining us today and sharing your story, being so transparent. Game changing for sure. For those of y'all watching, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Prince Daniels Jr. YouTube page. All right, make sure you do that. And you can join us, every week, Game Beyond the Game's Facebook page, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll always be here for you to help you be a little bit better from the inside out and from the neck up. My name is Sam Pearson II. You heard it here first. Y'all have a good one, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.